acts friendly toward the lamb. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. The wolf doesn't act friendly, and therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
I'd like to point out, though, that...
And I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro, who actually differs from the white conservative in the same way that the fox differs from the wolf. Their appetite is the same. Their motives are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ.
Welcome to another stream or another episode of You Left Shit Out. I'm your host, Compton J or Jay. I thought it was fitting, considering the topic, to start with a Malcolm X clip about white liberals. I think we have to update the terms and include white progressives, specifically the term progressives. So, and I've said this before on Twitter, the term has to be updated for the time because they've moved on to that. That name has been co-opted enough. But the comparison is very spot on coming from Malcolm X, considering the topic. And for those that has just stumbled on this, the topic today is something called the Dumdum Left. Dumdum Left. And based on what I can gain from the content I've watched, it sounds like RBN would fall into the category of the Dumdum Left. So I thought that it would only be right to really try to understand the issue and understand the differences. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we do that, let's get our likes up to about 150 if we can. I would like to have a lot of people in the chat for this conversation, for this stream. I would like to have possibly get some liberals that may be calling themselves leftists, but liberals, people that are down with the squad, people that still want to go through Democratic Party, because we want to have a lively discussion today about the Dumdum Left and its broader implications of the what we are calling the left, the left in the United States. Okay, so yeah, let's let me bring up my notes here. Let me do a chat check really quick. Let's do this here. All right, I'll start from the top since I just started and I don't have to scroll the whole. Well, I guess I do have to scroll. Okay, I guess that sort of sums up the people who aren't dum-dums. Position is that the corrupt Democratic Party can be reformed. Those people are not dum-dums, according to Majority Report. Excuse me. All right, so see, the Sam Seder is like a film school guy, but he presents himself as if he's an academic. Yeah, he's a comedian. If you didn't know, he's a comedian. I don't know when he started, but I mean, he has some other things. But yeah, he's in a Hollywood business sort of thing. He looked like Scat Man with glasses in the picture. His name is not Sam Seder, it's MSNBC guest. We have a lot of comedians in the chat today. I'm loving it. Seems like Lifestyle Left and New Kids on the Block, YouTube Left, always at each other's throat, and neither are saying much of anything that folks don't already know. That is true. That could be true, I should say. Maybe I'm not going to be definite. It could be true that folks that don't already know. But I would say it's folks like you that already know, that are assuming that people aren't here that's learning. And let me tell you, they are. in the comments all the time. Just go through our content and just look through the comments, and you'll see, oh, I've never heard of that. Oh, I stumbled up on this. So this is an accurate description, I would say, for somebody who has been watching and already knows this stuff. It could be accurate. But to assume that everybody's in that boat is just not accurate. Let me go to the super chat, and then we'll get into. Okay, here we go. Cheap lunch. Thank you for the super chat. And some other comments. I'll just kind of throw them up really quick. Oh my, yeah. My wife was like, wonder what it looked like if you grow it out. I've never done. I didn't even know it would grow this fast, so because I've never done it before. Been kind of clean shaven my whole life. So, all right. So we're at 226 people. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes. And now let's start with. So I don't want to make this a he said, she said. That's not, or he said in this case. He said because there's all men in these cases here. But I really want to examine what is the dumb left. Where does the phrase come from? What is it? What threshold do you have to cross, or what's the criteria that you can be labeled a dumb lefty? And I put the tweet out, so maybe we should do that first. I already have this up, so it'll be easy to do. I'll just go down. I hope it's easy. Yeah. All right. So let's go to my tweet, and let me see how it's doing. Nick was kind enough to retweet it, so I think it got a good amount of people. Wow. Let's see. All right, so 51. So we'll get a considerably good amount of thoughts on this. So I asked the question. Let me make sure you can see that on the screen, because let me take this like off. Sorry about that, everybody. So I asked the question on Twitter. So if you're in the chat now, I might, and you made a comment on this tweet, I may read your comment here. But let's go to the ones that have been retweeted, because I've already pre-scanned those, and then I'll come back to some of the other ones. So, of course, shout out to Nick. Essentially, so let me read the question, the full question. Here it goes. Define dumb left. Okay. What is a dumb leftist? What's the criteria or threshold to be labeled a dumb leftist? I can't seem to find a clear understanding from watching the content. Yeah, because it's sort of like just thrown to already using it. So maybe they were using this term in the background. It's like an inside joke. And then they begin to use it in front, because I didn't find anything where it began to, well, they're really dumb. Yeah, let's call it. I never found that the genesis spot in their content. But I didn't have the time to look through more than maybe an hour of content. So tried to skim through and find some things. So I posed it on Twitter, and let's see what people say. I'm going to go to the ones I retweeted already, like Nick. Nick said, oops. I don't know how I clicked that wrong here. Nick here. Essentially, anyone to the left of them who don't support Democrats. So that's kind of a broad umbrella definition. Essentially, anyone to the left of them who don't support Democrats. So you can be to the left of them as long as you support Democrats, I would think is the key there, to not being labeled, given that label. Let's see, who else did I retweet? I didn't realize it was so far down. So here's one. I guess that was it. For the first time, I heard that phrase was from Michael Brooks on the Sam Seder Variety Project. So that's the first time he heard it. So maybe Michael Brooks is the one who coined the phrase, and then Sam Seder just kind of ran with it. Maybe no one knows, or I don't know. I'm not gonna say no one knows, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and grab a couple other ones here. I won't click on it to enlarge it so I can read both real quick. People who disparage the left are not of the left of it. I'm sorry. People who disparage the left are not part of it. And then this person says the answer to the question of what is it is anyone, I guess, a person who not supporting Democrats. That's also a here's a person. I'm not sure if they're trying to be more. Let me read it and then I'll give my assessment. So it says anyone on the left who wouldn't mind if fascists win to own the libs. Okay, so here we go. This is what I was looking for. So this is a Majority Report stand, a Sam Seder stand right here. Okay, but this is the discussion I want to have. I hope maybe we have some in the chat. If you're here, there's speak up. Let's get this conversation going. We're not gonna burn you at the stake, but we'll have a spirited conversation now. So show yourselves if you are. So this person here, anyone on the left who wouldn't mind if fascists win to own liberals. Let me read them all, then I'll address them. Anyone who immediately plants themselves in a contrarian position to whatever our furthest left representative in Congress. Now, that's a curious thing. But like I said, let me read them all. But that number 2 is very telling to me. Anyone who thinks third-party voting is an immediate viable option. There's a lot of qualifiers. To me, how I'm reading this is that this person is trying to dress up a bunch of stupid answers and make it sound logical. That's what this sounds to me, because there's a bunch of qualifiers on top of what they're saying. And this is what I mean here. Anyone who thinks third party is a immediate, you see this immediate part? That's adding these two here. What about anyone who thinks third-party voting is an option? You see how this qualifier here, he's trying to make what it really is, which is just anyone who thinks third-party voting is an option. Or any party who votes third-party may just say what their person is doing. You have to say this to make it seem like your stupid point has validity. So here's another one. Anyone who immediately plants themselves in a contrarian position. So in a contrarian position to whatever our furthest left representative in Congress say or do. Anyone who immediately. So this person is saying, number 2, did you see how they're dressing up stupid? This is dressing up stupid here. Anyone who. So somebody goes, AOC said this. She said she's on that side. Okay, I'm over here. Somebody's doing that, according to this person. You see? Dressing up stupid. And then let's read further. In a contrarian position. Do you mean further left? Is that what you're describing? A person who's further left, like a communist or a real socialist? To whatever. So you're saying the person so this person is saying a person to the left of AOC or the squad isn't different on them on a lot of points because they're further left and have different ideology. It's because you're specifically trying to be contrarian. You see, stupid dressed up as logic. Just break it down. Our furthest leftist representative. So we have to stop, the people have to stop where the person who's supposed to be representing us stops. You see, stupid, dressed up as logic? Anyone on the left who wouldn't mind if fascists win to own libs, he doesn't know that Joe Biden and the Democrats are also fascists. Again, stupid, dressed up as logic. He just added a couple of words. He or she or this person. So let's move on. That might be the last one that I break down. That was literally some clown shit. But yeah. But I retweeted it because again, I retweet regardless. I'm gonna retweet. You say what you want to say, and I'll retweet it. Okay. I'll let this be the last one. Consider the source. Entitled, rich, comfortable liberals who went to private prep schools and had parents who paid for college. So to them, the poor and working class left are literally dum-dums. They mean this quite literally. It's just oh my God, I'm glad I read this. Shout out to Goody Weaver. Look, man, that is an on point. Let me retweet that. That is an on point comment, and I'm going to read it again. Consider the source, which is the Majority Report, which is Nikki Nominki, which is Emma, which is Sam, and then the mysterious voice that's always off screen, the most annoying one on the screen to me, on the stream to me. The one that's always off screen, who always has the stupidest comments. It's almost like he says, "Hey, insert stupid comment," and then he says, "Okay, guys," and then you hear his voice in the background. Okay. Oh, this is what I'm reading this again. So, consider the source. Entitled "Rich, Comfortable Liberals who went to private school and had parents who paid for college. So to them, the poor and working class left are literally dum-dums. Literally. We don't use the vernacular. We don't talk about IDC. They mean this quite literally. It's just a class issue, which, shout out to Nick, always points out. Also, I'm going to shrink this back down, and then we're going to get to their clips. Now, I'm going to start with one of the clips. I'm going to start with is one of the first ones I actually heard him use the phrase in the stream. Now, he may have used it earlier than this, but this is the one I found, and it happened to be the one with Ben Dixon. Where am I here? So let me switch up screen here. Thank you for those that are here watching. We're at 330, a little more than 330 people. Can we push to about 300 likes? We can get a lot of people in here and get some great discussions if we could do that.
Looking for a free project management solution?
Much appreciated.
That's actually free. With ClickUp.
Sorry, everybody. Hold on. I do want it to fully open before we get started. So, this is titled, if you want to look it up, Jimmy Dore and the Utter Aimlessness of the Dumdum Left. That's the title, Majority Report. All right, so let's enlarge this and let's listen.
Speaking of basic politics, and I want to talk a little bit about the IDC, and I want to get to Botham Jean too, because that story is amazing. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I couldn't help but notice, and it was a total coincidence. I mean, we have talked in the past about, getting into a regular rotation, and I've been remiss in like sending some type of calendar, but you were up for this Friday, but just coincidentally, I watched you get in on Twitter into a little tiff with some of who we refer to as the Dumdum Left around here, and really, like, it's at one point it moves from just sort of like dum-dum to sort of a willful ignorance that I think is really, the more this continues, I start to think this is really, this is about a certain, careerism, and maybe careerism isn't the right word. We're just generating money, and and of course, one of the people we're talking about is Jimmy Dore, who started this sort of path he's on, that has included, pursuing the Seth Rich conspiracy, the idea that Hillary Clinton had Parkinson's. I mean, I know that he was like dabbling in that Pizzagate stuff when he was on that conspiracy podcast, but I just assumed that was more about like, sort of him being somewhat comedic maybe, but the double downing on this stuff, the complete disempowerment. I mean, look, one of the things that we saw about one of the elements that we saw in New York State for example, is that there is still a massive, and I don't agree with, but a massive, in some ways, semi-blind and myopic Democratic partisanship. And you got eliminated half a dozen Democrats who have stood in the way of real progressive, you want to call it, some policies would be very much considered, socialistic policies in New York State. And they were eliminated not by a member of the Green Party, but by people coming in who call themselves Democrats, who clearly have policies to the left of where the Democratic mainstream has been over the past couple of decades, and are eliminating those people and taking them out, and are going to have implications for this state down the road, even with Andrew Cuomo as.
So they're talking about, just so you know, they're intertwining a conversation about the IDC, which is this caucus of Democrats that was established. This video is old too. That was a while back, that was having issue, and they decided to caucus, or decided to kind of vote in block with some things that the Republicans in that state house was doing. This is the state assembly, or the state's senators in New York, state senators. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're tying both of them together.
As governor, the fact of the matter is that the whole farm team that's being created, the next Andrew Cuomo, the next, lieutenant governor, is coming from these people, and they're building networks. And this is the way that you get change. It's the way you do politics. It's not as self-satisfying. It's not. It doesn't happen overnight. But this is the way you do it. And to ignore that dynamic because it gets you clicks, I find is just is ridiculous.
You've covered it all. I really don't even have to say much, because look at the IDC last night. 6 are gone, and they're gone from Democrats who ran to the left of them, far to the left of them. I mean, that's an understatement. And what's being sold to by the dumb left to the dumb left is political apathy, and it's wrapped up in this veneer of.
So, I'll keep my comments tempered about, trying to be nice here. Okay, so let me play this again.
By the dumb left to the dumb left is political.
But what I like about how Ben talks here is, at least to me, I can hear, because he's using a lot of descriptive words, I can hear he, to me, articulates what I'm thinking they mean. So listen closely to what Ben is saying here.
Covered it all. I really don't even have to say much, because look at the IDC last night. 6 are gone, and they're gone from Democrats who ran to the left of them, far to the left of them. I mean, that's an understatement. And what's being sold to by the dumb left to the dumb left is political apathy, and it's wrapped up in this veneer of.
We're being sold political apathy, wrapped up in this veneer of something.
Being politically intellectual, which it's funny.
Being politically intellectual, maybe he means like reading theory or quoting theory for the reasons why you're doing these things.
To say intellect
again,
intellectual and Jimmy Dore in the same sentence, but
this is a class thing.
This is how people take it. They take Jimmy Dore seriously. And if you take him seriously, the logical conclusion to what he's asking you to do is apathy, nothingness. And
so this is a lot of how they describe what we do, or what Jimmy does in this case. Like, it's not literally what is said or done. Like Jimmy doesn't literally say go out and he's preaching apathy. He's just saying the logical conclusion. That's how they deductive reason it into saying what they said. Just like they said, Jimmy's saying something, and they said, oh, look, Jimmy is outright telling people to go vote Republicans. And then I went to go look for this, and I'm like, what are they talking about? That's how they describe it. So let's continue.
And we don't have time for do nothingness, because that's literally what is, I mean, there's too many things at stake right now. There are too many issues at stake. Every theory that Jimmy gave about.
So now I'm going to give my assessment, not at my assessment. I'm going to give sort of my retort as he's speaking. So I'll be stopping it here. We have to understand when we're talking about the reformist left and the more revolutionary left, let's define what that reformist means. Whether it's the Democratic Party or whatever, they want to reform the system electorally. That makes them social democrats, because they're not socialists. They're not democratic socialists. They're social democrats. They want to do it electorally. So that's one bucket. Then there's a different group of us who said, no, we're saying there needs to be a complete change. So much reform that it's not even reform. It's like is it reform if you're changing everything? It's not really reform. Like, there needs to be a new constitution written, like starting from the beginning. That's the type of action that's needed to effectively take care of, finally address the issues of the people at the very, very bottom. Right? So that's what we have to first establish. So understand, this friction is because we are literally trying to do two different things. It's been said that, hey, we have the same goals. We actually do not. We have a few overlapping goals, like healthcare, like better pay, better way of life, all of these things. They're not anti-capitalist, though. They're not anti-imperialist, though. So we have to understand what they're trying to do and what we're trying to do is not the same thing. So the strategy that they're calling Dumdum, and I think they're referring to, I think in the IDC, I'm just briefly heard this, though maybe I'm wrong, but IDC, they have these people in this IDC, and they ran some candidates that was to the left of the candidates, and I guess maybe they won the primary or something, but then they lost somewhere down the line, right? So, and maybe they didn't run as Democrats. Maybe that's the critique or why he's inserted this in here. But let's listen to some more.
About what's going to happen if Donald Trump got elected has fallen. It has not come to. And now we're stuck.
Now, what we can say is Joe Biden has been elected, and we can compare the two presidencies. Donald Trump is terrible, but I couldn't objectively say this presidency, the Joe Biden presidency, is worse. It's worse.
Stuck with a President Trump and a Jimmy Dore. I mean, you already called his name, so I hope you don't mind if I call his name several more times. Go. We're stuck with a Jimmy Dore who relentlessly protects Donald Trump from criticisms from the left.
You see how that phrasing, that never happened. It's just that's how he describes Jimmy not doing as many videos about the Republicans or about Trump or whatever. It's not actually what happened. That's just how he's describing it, right? So let's listen to some more.
Left, and I'm like, what's really going on here? And I realized it took me too long to realize, because
the new best way to make money.
Because a lot of times I just don't feel like getting into confrontations until I do. And then when I do, it looks like what it looked like earlier this week. But I realize this is all for show. There is a group of people, particularly who gather around YouTube, who are looking for the left version of Alex Jones. They're looking for someone who could just keep them angry, regardless of information.
Not to keep anyone angry. Now, this is pre-RBN. So their assessment is not including us at the time, but I would say it does now. It's not about keeping anybody angry. What people want to hear is somebody expressing how they're feeling, not just skipping over it or tacitly like, oh, okay, yeah, and then moving on. Let's get to these Democrats. They want somebody expressing in the tone and in the language that of how they feel. But that's how Ben describes it.
Information, regardless of the truth, regardless of the fact, if you can spin everything to be the fault of Hillary Clinton 2 years into Trump's administration, then there is an audience for you to make a lot of money off of. And Jimmy Dore is he's profiting off of it.
And I will say this: I can keep people angry. I don't need to, like I can keep people angry. And certainly, I was critiquing Barack Obama on national television before Jimmy Dore had a YouTube channel.
You were doing that.
And for years we would be talking about what was going on with these folks. But it's completely disempowering. And I think you're absolutely right in your point that it basically is it is apathy in terms of their efficacy and their impact. And I would say it goes even further than that, right? Because
you see, this is where I go back to where we're doing two different things. When they say we don't have a strategy or we're not doing anything, they're meaning the electoral, and then that's not what we're doing. So when you come back and say, well, we think you should do this, and this, that this is not electoralism to them, so that's nothing to them. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, let's play some more. I don't need to belabor that point.
Because look, if you tell people that there is no import to the courts, that it doesn't matter that Donald Trump will, and if the Democrats get the Senate, then still just a disaster, right? If they don't, we're still going to have 2 more years of Donald Trump putting people on the federal judiciary at a record pace. He is 1 out of every.
Wait a minute. Isn't this a democracy? He was elected. Isn't that, you guys want us to use the system that elected Donald Trump? The system elected Donald Trump. This is the system you want all of us to use. And that system elected Donald Trump. There's consequences to elections. There's consequences to signing contracts with candidates with the DNC. There are consequences to that. And I did a stream a couple of days. It's unrealistic and unreasonable for you to think what was done, the behind the back, the bullshit that was done with those leaked emails and the DNC and Bernie Sanders and all that. If you thought somebody that you were going to capture all those voters, that's absurd. That's like saying, which do you have the expectation that a David Duke, I think that's his name, one of the grand wizards of the KKK when he ran, is there an expectation that black people are going to vote for him? Come on. It's just not being real. But anyway, there's another clip. So we've belabored this one enough because I want to get to the main clip, which is my brother Nick. Because we're going to get to, this is where I gotta go. We're going to get to the debate he had with Jackson and talk a little more about this topic using that video. So this next one, I think, is him and Emma talking about Cori Bush and the dumb. This is another one where I think he explicitly uses the phrase, and Emma even gets mad where she uses profanity. Yeah, she gets really mad at us. Or the Dumdum Left. So let's see what the title is for this one. Just in case you want to Search it yourself. Sam Sears' message to Dumdum Leftist complaining about Cori Bush. So that's this. Now you got to catch Emma's profanity right in the first like 3 seconds. So I'm going to play it. Let's listen.
Emma knows corn. Lots of force the vote types weighing in on the performative nature of Cori Bush's sleeping outside the house.
Shut the fuck up.
That can't be true.
I'm sorry.
Including one comparing Jimmy Dore to Fred Hampton for understanding the need for solidarity.
See, I don't. The way that Sam is phrasing it, this Fred Hampton comparison, it's just bullshit. Let me let him say it again. I'll address it.
Hampton for understanding the need for solidarity.
Come on, watch this.
I'm sorry.
Including one comparing Jimmy Dore to Fred Hampton for understanding the need for solidarity.
Like that phrasing, comparing him, makes you think somebody said Jimmy Dore is like Fred Hampton. No, somebody says Jimmy Dore is saying the same things that Fred Hampton was saying. Not that somebody was saying, like, come on, like, don't be, this is so unserious. And if you don't get this right now, this whole thing is really directly connected to Jimmy Dore. The hatred, what they call the dumb left, is really hatred for Jimmy Dore, and they just project on other people. That's really what this all boils down to.
What? This is just morons on Twitter. Honestly,
just morons.
Listen. I'll make this point. I'm going to make it quick. If you're watching this show and you agree with the idea that what Cori Bush is doing is performative, and that's
let me just say, at first, you know how I started with the Malcolm X video? This was going to be the intro of the stream. Is this segment here? Let me cue it up. So imagine this is the intro.
With the idea that what Cori Bush is doing is performative, and that's the only Hang on a second. At this point, I'm gonna make it quick. If you're watching this show and you agree with the idea that what Cori Bush is doing is performative, and that's the only that's the only assessment.
This is for lasers. You gotta take.
Yeah,
them
okay,
off.
I will.
Yeah.
It is time for you to go. Leave us now. This is not for you. There's something far stupider out there for you. Go get it.
Go
There you
get
go.
that stupid.
That's right.
Reach for that stupid.
Honestly, seriously,
But don't try to screw in a light bulb, but reach for the stupid.
in the absence of Cori Bush sleeping on the thing, nobody would be talking about this anymore. Nobody. It would just disperse.
Now, what I find funny here is that they're defending Cori Bush here, yet they're against force the vote, and the critique is performative. Nothing's going to come of it. It's interesting how certain things are okay to be performative by your words. I'm not assessing that Cori Bush items was performative. It was performative. You can be performative and produce results. But I mean, there's a lot that happened after that. You know, everybody was cheering her on, and I remember something after that happened, like it being struck down, and nothing happening after that. By courts. Yeah, that's what happened. Struck down by courts, and then there was no more laying out. People are said, okay, now what you protested for in front of this Capitol, that thing that got people, that's over now. So are you going to go back and do something? And nothing happened. But let's listen some more.
It just disperses into thousands upon thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands of individual cases that have no sort of solid voice. These people.
He's saying that if Cori Bush did not go on those stuff, even if it's performative, that all the evictions, all the people getting evicted wouldn't have some sort of like unified voice representative, and she was that. That is almost the same exact thing about forced to vote, and that's my sort of analysis of this. Not necessarily performative or not, but it's, or they're being upset, but it's, how are you having this critique or this point of view, but then you have the complete opposite of forced to vote. Just it's
people who complain about the so-called performative nature of what is a performative act. Like, to sleep out on this, it is performative.
Yes,
but you know what?
It's a political action.
Forcing a vote would have been performative also. Because you would know that the votes are not going to pass, because you know that a lot of people are corporately bought. So again, I'm just applying your logic and applying it to force the vote.
That's what everything, that's what all political action is.
And the, I mean, it's not all political
Wait, no, you know what was
actions,
performative?
but it is.
Them going outside of AOC's closed office to protest. But this, when she actually...
You see how she's offended that you went to AOC's office? AOC's not even there. It's closed, as by your own admission. This is what goes back to reformists and revolutionists. If you want to tear down something, you don't care about holding back your critique of somebody. But if you want to maintain this rusted apparatus, you shield, you block the hate. You are angry about the criticism. They are like AOC's watchdog.
Actually has power and has experience as a houseless person, and when there's something that can be done about it immediately with the CDC, with the federal eviction moratorium. I mean,
there's
come
no
on.
other. She's using the only tool that she has, and it is effective to the extent that it's like.
So again, so what I just dawned on me is that we're talking about strategy. These sort of clashes is about strategy, because the critique was that she didn't do enough. There should have been all of them there. They should have been doing more. They should have been rallying people. It wasn't enough, right? It's about strategy. They don't want you yelling from the rooftop. They want you to be nice and civil and do it in the proper way and order. Go to the right schools. Otherwise, you're dumb. I like the tweet reply where the person said this is about class. It's not a coincidence that all of these people have been to, most of them, I would say not all of them, have been to some sort of school in the same description as the tweet said. And they're choosing to use the word dumb, like you silly, uneducated worker, right? So yeah, let's listen a little more, and then we're gonna get to then I'm gonna give you some more analysis, and then we'll get to the next video.
Driving attention and forcing the White House at least to pay attention and sit in the White House and figure out, like, how can we fix this? It may not.
Well, I just want to make one point that,
there he goes,
kind of inoculated to the accusation that they're helping.
There he goes. Now he's saying something here. Listen to what he says here. There goes that voice in the background. I wonder if he was on screen one time and they said, "Hey, you said some dumb shit. Can you go off camera so people don't see your face when you say that shit?" I wonder if that's how he got off camera.
That they're helping Republicans.
So let's listen what he says here.
Moratorium. I mean,
there's no other. She's using the only tool that she has, and it is effective to the extent that it's like driving attention and forcing the White House at least to pay attention and sit in the White House and figure out like how can we fix this. They may not.
Well, I just want to make one point that, you know, they're kind of inoculated to the accusation that they're helping Republicans. But
like I said, and this he said something he's actually said something. We are inoculated to you saying you're helping Republicans. He's basically saying vote shaming doesn't work on these people. Because it doesn't. If you view Trump and Biden the same, how is it affecting me by you saying you're helping to elect Trump? They're the same. Whoever. That's the inoculation. For better.
There's a reason that a lot of people that are playing footsie with this sort of nonsense had to be very ostentatious about how they supported Nina Turner, because it was really conditioning, particularly Dore, his fans to look at Nina Turner and say, "Oh, she's an establishment. She got."
You see, this is really just about Dore. Like I said, the shit rolling down the hill, but the pile at the top of the hill that is rolling from is just literally they're just crapping on Dore and they hate him. Some reason it seems like they got history, because I've seen footage of them like the debate they're referring to about the 2016 that's not really even a debate. Jimmy's literally coming on his friend's show to talk about something, and Jimmy it sounds like he was intoxicated. That was the first time I heard it, so I didn't think that was a debate. But anyway, how it's framed as a debate, and he's like, "Hey man, haven't seen you in a long time. You know, you haven't been in the show in a while. You got to make sure you don't go this long again for not coming on the show." They're cool. He has the same ideology. Maybe a couple of different stances. But now he's a right-winger now. And let me just continue.
Endorsed by Ed Markey, part of the establishment, right? Just this dumb idiocy, which not only helps the GOP.
Isn't Ed Markey is part of the establishment, but he is also does some good things.
But also the Chantel Browns and the Hillary Clintons, and that's who they're working for.
Well, and understand, Dore said it himself.
It's so weird how they know where to pinpoint the actual ad. You see, when he was about to say something about Dore, they placed that ad there. Capitalism has to the millisecond figured out what's going on and how to market.
On Tucker Carlson show. It is deleterious, according to him, to have progressives in the Democratic Party, because it gives people hope that the Democratic Party can be reformed, and he doesn't want that.
He doesn't want that. I would rephrase it to say he understands that that's not going to happen. It is counterproductive to have leftists in the Democratic Party. It is counterproductive because it does give the illusion that you have somebody working in the inside when you do not. That is a correct assessment. So what's dumb about that? Let's pause here and ask a couple of things. What's dumb about not supporting the Democratic Party that funds genocides, that is corporately bought? Like, what's dumb about that? Like, literally the same, I would say 80% of the reason you say, most of the liberals say they don't support Republicans, 80%, Democrats do the same thing. It's that 20% that where they pose, where they virtue signal to be for, trans and people of color and all these things. It's that 20%. But the good chunk of it, 80% is the same.
He wants the People's Party thing or whatever it is.
The one.
Now I think they're going to the People's Party. Now I'm not down with the People's Party either, as long as Nick Braun is there. So I'm not down for the People's Party whatsoever, but not like they have a candidate.
And that takes in hundreds.
Like they have no candidate.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They're
And this critique of it, I don't know what Emma says here. Let's listen.
Party thing or whatever it is.
The one
and
that
they're-
takes in hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They're
and spends
95%.
80% of it on
I think you find it's closer to 90.
on just events and nothing to
Right.
candidates. Well, I'm looking forward to that 15K left
The same critique we have of the People's Party.
over from your grift that you're
Or
going to
right,
shut
One of the critiques before the news of Nick Brana's sexual assault accusations.
10 candidates. Each one's going to get $1,500.
the Green Party cranks that are left
Sexual harassment allegations.
over from that 2016 event.
Sam's butt joint. I'm of the belief that the Democratic Party doesn't actually respond to left pressure, but to worsening material conditions, and even then in the most minimalistic ways. Is there any reason to doubt this belief given what we're seeing with evictions? I think that they respond to left pressure to the extent that it can be mounted. I mean,
I guess this caller or person has a pretty good question for him to answer. I didn't get this far in the video. Let me just listen, and then we're going to move to the next video.
I think that they.
Oh, let me go. I didn't go back far enough. So let's listen here.
I'm of the belief that the Democratic Party doesn't actually respond to left pressure, but to worsening material conditions, and even then in the most minimalistic ways. Is there any reason to doubt this belief given what we're seeing with evictions?
That's exactly what we're saying. Like, they don't respond to people, the will of the people. They respond when you're almost literally dying on life support, and then they just throw you crumbs to get you to the next crumb disbursement. Let's go.
I think that they respond to left pressure to the extent that it can.
I mean, I think like you're stretching it, huh? You know they don't
Be mounted. I mean,
to the extent it can be mounted. How can you mount pressure from the left if those on the left, the squad, AOC, are afraid to put pressure on leader? How is that? That is the exact question we ask.
they're responding. They're not responding to the material conditions of people being evicted today because nobody's been evicted today. There's proceedings. They're responding to pressure from Cori Bush and the attention she's bringing to it.
Did you hear what he said? There was nobody being evicted at the time Cori Bush was on the steps. There's literally videos all over Twitter where people were being evicted. Yeah. Again, this is just a class issue that's flashing here, along with the fact that we have people who want to keep the apparatus, and we have people who are saying the apparatus needs to be replaced. So we have two fundamentally different goals, but people act like we are that much overlapping, and it's really just minimal that overlaps. They are still capitalists and still imperialists. And they're fine to corporate takeover of politics to the extent that they only stay in the boundaries of the same Overton window. Do they have communists regularly over there, Marxists coming on their show? Just saying. So next, I do want to a couple of things here. So let's talk about what is their strategy that they're so. Their strategy is electoralism. That's their strategy. Now, it's my opinion that the reason their strategy, and most recently, let's just use the Justice Democrats because that's who's most recently executing this. Their strategy doesn't include any sort of direct action, which is the reason why their strategy keeps failing, along with the fact that they're still supporting Democrats. But that's the reason. Anyway, let's I'm going to be bringing up this video of Nick Nick did a review of Sam Seder, Jackson Hinkle, RBN. I gotta add RBN in here. Revolutionary. Right, let's see. There we go. So let me mute that. I was watching it. That's why it starts out in the middle here. Oh, wow. We got a commercial on ours. Let's see what it is here. He must be about to say something important. PBS. All right. Not too bad, even though what they're showing is pretty bad. Anyway, let's get back. Let's show Nick here. Let me see where the timestamp is here. I'm going to pause that. I do got a couple more words here, but actually, let me put up some comments here. It's a good amount. Put up some super chats. Democrats are the other party of poverty, war, oppression. The multiracial working class needs our own anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist political party to fight for the things we need. Thank you for the super chat, Don Deering. And I think there was another one. Let me just put that up there before I get back to the discussion here. I might have started. Yeah, I think this is the one I didn't put up yet. Thank you for the super chat. 3-chord Drifter 420. Thank you for that super chat. And then I'll just toss some comments up here. We do need socialism. I agree. Next question. Yes, I agree. I do agree. Oh, here's another super chat. Glad I scrolled up here. What's up, man? What's dumb about not supporting a party that raised $80 million for abortion rights when that money can be used for mutual aid? Absolutely. Thank you for this super chat. I'm gonna keep that up there, and that's actually what I wanted to go. Like, what you remind me where I wanted to go with the conversation. What's dumb about not supporting a political party that sends billions of dollars overnight to Ukraine while people here are suffering under inflation? Like, why? Like, what's dumb about not supporting that? It feels like they're saying we're dumb because we refuse to participate. That's what it feels like. We refuse to participate in this rigged system the way it is, so we're dumb. We have to understand that just like the difference in social democrats versus democratic socialists, social democrats want to keep the system in place and just sort of reform it through electorally. I'm talking about the original meanings of this, not what DSA has turned it into. But the original meaning of democratic socialists was you were a socialist. You wanted capitalism gone and you wanted socialism. So, but that's another great example. Thank you for that. I want to know the demographic breakdown of Sam Seder's viewers. Who in the fuck is watching this news fest? I think it's liberals that are watching him. That's liberals that are watching. Liberals, liberals are the people in the Overton Winter narrative of the United States. That's the furthest left, right? So they're the furthest left in their mind because in the narrative of that's told on corporate and cable news, they are the furthest left. So when they say the left, they're referring to, people like the Squad, not people like Marxists, not people like Kshama Sawant. And let me just say this. I did another stream because a lot of what RBN we're not taking seriously because none of us have these high degrees. None of us are doctors. None of us come from these schools and have these backgrounds. We're just working class people who have opinions. Hang on a second Sorry, everybody. Got a glitch on my screen. Need to fix here. Okay, looks like that's gone now. All right, my apologies. Okay, so where was I? Anyway, oh, there goes Nick right here. I have Tara Reid coming on tonight. Yes, Tara Reid will be on tonight. I think it's 6. Is it 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern? Nick, I can shout it out if you put it in the chat. But anyway, let's going through why the things that they're labeling us as dumb, why is that dumb, right? So this is what I was saying. RBN, we don't have these, doctorate degrees and have this Ivy League background, but we have the same strategy as Kashama Sawant and Chris Hedges. I did a stream on this. What they're saying, yes, Biden should be challenged, not from the Democratic Party. Then they say, well, there's no party that's viable, and again, for me, we have to get out of the understanding that we have to stop fighting them, retorting what they're saying about our critique by saying, like, we're not doing the strategy you're trying to do. So when we say vote third party, it's just not to vote Democratic. In no way are we thinking voting third party is going to mean somebody getting in that Green Party. Let's say use Green Party, voting Green Party. That means that person is going to win the White House. It's just a place to place your vote outside of the duopoly with the party that may overlap most of your views. But they look at it as voting third party, but that's not the point. Again, the strategies are different. They are wanting us to come up with a strategy to win like they're trying to do it through it. Like, that's not what we're doing. So I would hope that we stop having this sort of back and forth, because we're replying in a way as if we want to do the same thing they're doing. Now, for me, I'm not looking that the third party is going to be winning the presidency. I'm looking to pull as many people away from the duopoly. And then maybe the duopoly will respond. But that is the strategy. And then having a strategy like that, that means you're going to go through times like this, where you have people in office that you hate. Now, think about it. We've had a Democrat in office and a Republican in office in the last 8 years. Hasn't it been terrible with both of them in office? Been terrible. Anyway, I'm going to keep ranting if I don't get to it, because I need to start this video because Nick has some good items in here. I'm going to start it at a video, and then I'm going to come back to some of Nick's critiques. But let's start it where he places the video on the screen first. It looks like they're going to show an ad first, so hang on a second here. They're going to show it again. Fucking bastards. Sprouts. I actually shop there, or my wife shops there sometimes for stuff. So let's go. Let's hear what
for support when she's going to be withholding her support for these bills.
Hold on a second. Let me back it up to give a little bit of context here. What Nick is saying.
Summaries of what happened. This is probably my favorite one. Let me see if I can find it. And this sums up what the boutique left and their politics in a nutshell is.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let me set up why I'm showing this. So the title is Dumdum Left, and we've sort of talked about what Sam Seder and the Majority Report defines as the Dumdum Left. They're really just representing a group of people, because it's more than them that believe this. Marianne Williamson, I would put in this category. David Sirota, I would put in this category of people who will call us the Dumdum Left. Now, those two may be smart enough not to put those words out there, but they absolutely believe that the strategy that we're saying, or the strategy, our opposition to what they're doing, is dumb. It's not effective or not smart. They absolutely believe that. So what I wanted to show is sort of talk about what they mean by dumb, then talk about how, like, why are these points dumb? Now I want to talk about their point of view and how really they are the dumb left. Let's examine them and their strategy, their talking points, their policies. We can do that through this debate or through this assessment of the debate. So let's listen to, now let's get back to the video.
And once again, when Sam Seder said this part, once again, his audience thought it was hilarious. Check this out.
Okay.
Hold on, damn it. Sorry, I'm producing my own today, so let me fix the audio.
Okay.
What do you mean, okay? What is this okay? You have one of the largest news shows on YouTube for leftist politics, and you refuse to criticize them. You just say, okay, you say, I don't care. What is this? Do you not?
Let me say, I did not watch this. Like, I've never watched this debate, right? I've never watched this debate. Like, I'm always late to stuff. That's why you'll see me doing old content, because I'm late to it. But Jackson said, hey, like, what do you mean? Like, he has no answers. He's just like, whatever. Like, so now let's get back to it.
This is the clip without the meme. The meme is funny, but I think this one is actually more powerful.
I went too far back, but
We'll
we'll get there in a second.
When she is going to be withholding her support for these bills.
Okay.
What do you mean, okay? What is this okay? You have one of the largest news shows on YouTube for leftist politics, and you refuse to criticize them. You just say, okay, you say,
I
don't
see
care.
you,
What is
Nick.
this?
I didn't even see.
Do you not have any values that you stand upon?
No.
For support when she.
That is a face of a defeated man who has to resort to trolling someone who is literally old enough to be his son. Jackson is asking him a serious question where the squad is complicit with funding the Capitol Police, who bust the head of indigenous activists, who waged class war against the working class, who waged coups against socialist countries, who literally imposed sanctions on people that is responsible for a genocide in Yemen. 23 million Afghans are starving.
Now, wouldn't you label a person who supports a politician who supports that? Wouldn't that be a person you would call dumb? Hey, dumb, why are you supporting a politician who's supporting this? Isn't that the dumb? Are we the dumb-dumbs? Because we're saying we're literally looking at evidence that, hey, this strategy hasn't worked and isn't working. Let's not do that and do something completely different. That's dumb. But it's not dumb to keep doing something over and over the same way. With this, waiting for this magical committee seat. There's another stream I was watching. Maybe I can find it. I'll see if I can find it. Wait a minute. Is this Nick? Oh, I didn't even know he was here. I was like, wait a minute.
What's good? I was watching this. I had a long ass day. I was trying to get ready for our KC event.
Yeah. Hop on just for a little bit. But
yeah, I was jumping on because you on fire, man. But
yeah. But can you like, we're gonna watch more of what you're saying, but can you kind of like encapsulate, because what you do is you break down how what they're supporting is the bad strategy.
Yes.
And I'm trying to connect it to say this is really the dumb left. This strategy is really the dumb part. Can you break that down?
Yeah, you made the point I've been making exactly, which is why it blows me away that these people who are rich, you would think they would at least have the wherewithal not to, as a rich person cosplaying as a leftist, not to upset workers by calling them dumb, right? Because of strategy disagreements. Now, I want to pull this receipt up because I remember I played this during one of my segments bash these people. So these people, they call us Dumdum Left because we don't want to give power to the people that oppresses us.
Right.
Pause. How is that not
that's the dumb?
That's unhinged. Now, let me show you guys what the Dumdum Left actually looks like. This is the quality analysis that you get from Emma Vigeland, who's apparently the smart left. So do you guys want to see the smart left analysis apparently according to them? This comes from Emma Vigeland. She tweeted this out March 30th, 2020, when we knew he was killing elders in the nursing home. She tweeted this out when we knew he cut Medicaid in the middle of a pandemic. This is the person who's calling us the dumb left. This is her tweet. There's no denying it. Andrew Cuomo has done a very good job. If you're a Majority Report fan, how could you watch them after this? And I would say the same thing for me. If I ever tweet out anything this dumb, you guys are free to unsubscribe. I promise you, my countless tweets. How many tweets I have? I have a fucking ton of them. I don't show. Actually, yeah, 73,000 tweets. You will never see anything that's dumb, ever. That's why we're growing. That's why we're almost at 20,000, despite being suppressed. So let's read the rest of this tweet. Andrew Cuomo, who killed seniors, who cut Medicaid in the middle of a pandemic, one of the most corrupt mayors in America at the time. According to the smart left, Emma Vigeland, there's no denying it. Andrew Cuomo has done a very great job, especially rhetorically, in this crisis. I gotta read the whole thing. I stop every word in almost every sentence. Maybe want to go on a rant. The way he's communicating is informative and politically savvy. He demolished Trump as the nominee. If DNC is willing to do the gutsy thing. So Emma Vigeland, she said that's the gutsy thing to put Andrew Cuomo up. Oh, remember at this time, March 30th, 2020, what was the talk that was coming from shit libs? How about we have Andrew Cuomo replace Joe Biden?
Oh my
God. Do you guys see who Emma Proud is? She was listening to the shit libs. She was listening to Rachel Maddow, MSNBC. That's her crowd. The crowd that was saying we should replace Andrew Cuomo. He's so good. He would beat Trump. And that what killed me. They called us the dumb left. This is the same person, by the way, who, while Bernie Sanders was running, she was an Elizabeth Warren supporter. Do you guys realize that? Do you guys know that Cenk Uygur had a debate with Cal Kalinske about who should we support, Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders? Look, dead honest. The state, the imperialists, the person who voted for Trump's military budgets, voted for Trump's trade deals, the person who betrayed the movement in 2016, the person who betrayed in 2020, like we knew that was going to happen. And I remember Emma and Sam Seder used to get mad at me because I was one of the people, especially back then, I used to work on the Bernie campaign. A lot of people was upset because I was like, your guys' strategy of having Elizabeth Warren as an ally is the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. And now look what happened. Emma Vigeland promoted Elizabeth Warren, and then Elizabeth Warren stabbed Bernie in the back.
Yeah.
So who's the dumb left? Who has the worst strategies? Emma Vigeland. She was unapologetically on the Elizabeth Warren train. Like open. That was who she was. She was the Elizabeth Warren girl. But we were the dumb left. And I can go all day, but I'll start there. CJ, I'll pass back to you. But I can go all day.
Yeah, but no, those are great points. But I do want to illustrate, because I do, in the beginning of this part, I'm going to let you play. I'm going to play a little bit of it here in the beginning, because you make some great points on what exactly, I think it was at 15. Yeah. What exactly right around here? Like the people that your Majority Report, I'll just say that. They're not looking out for the working class. So we have to understand their perspective is from the working class. So when they say that strategy doesn't work, I was saying this, Nick, when you were up before you came on. So if our strategy is not if our strategy is not to go electorally. Oops, I need to stop it real quick. Not to go the electoral route. They don't understand anything outside of that. So when we say mutual aid, when we say, organizing, doing this, that doesn't compute. So to them, they say you're doing nothing. And it's like, how is that? I'm saying I'm not doing electoralism. That is that's the whole powder, that's the whole cake to them. So if you're not doing that, to them, you're doing nothing.
DJ, can I read this comment just real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at this. Because this provided I knew she was rich, but I don't know her biography, right? This comes from Eric. Her parents were both attorneys, and her mom held office as a Democrat. So she's literally a Democratic operative yelling at socialists and calling us dumb left for not supporting her mama's party. That's the quality of analysis that we got on Majority Report. But so I just want to read that. Go ahead, CJ.
No, that's a great point. And that also, let me bring this up since you brought that up. And then we got to talk about Sam Seder. Like, what's his story? Now, he was fired from MSNBC, but do you think he's not being a good boy to see if he can maybe possibly get squeezed back in somewhere?
He's still,
you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that part. But if he still
we gotta
has
watch that video. We gotta watch that video of Sam Seder on MSNBC.
I was gonna play. I don't know what you're talking about.
We find one.
We'll find one.
So he rotates for Chuck Hayes. Guys, pause. Would anyone on Revolutionary Blackout Network, would anyone you've seen on this show, let alone us, take every guess, would any one of us be called to CNN or MSNBC the way that Sam Seder is? Ask yourself why. Do you think they call Sam Seder up because they think he's the smartest leftist?
Right.
Well, go ahead, CJ.
No, that's a great point. They feel comfortable enough to sign him to a contract.
They gave him an hour.
Right.
They
gave him an hour.
An hour, bro.
No way.
Don't get mad at me, guys. I would take it, and the first thing I would do, I would go on there like, let's do a segment about the crimes of the CIA, and I'm gonna explain to you guys how both parties they work in cahoots with each other to bomb Black and brown. I'm telling you up front, that'll be my first segment I do. It'll be 10 minutes in my show. They're like, pull the plug. Meanwhile, Sam Seder went on MSNBC and fucking Russiagated.
That's the video. Okay, then we saw the same. That's the video I was gonna play. I didn't know if I had time.
Play this video. I keep interrupting.
But yeah, but that was one of the videos I was gonna play where he was rushagating. So that was the point I was gonna make, is that you see what I'm basically, and I think maybe this is what you're saying. There is a motive to why they want us people to stay invested in this, not because they think they're smarter or our strategy is dumber. It is a reason they need us to be invested. They built the same ecosystem. You know how Crystal Ball critiques, all the Washington, D.C. people, they just go from job to job. They don't care who they work for. What are you doing?
This is Carlos Gallego, friend of the show. He's going to be on with me tonight. Thanks for the $10. The progressive strategy now is to look backwards and recycle the same trash.
Yes.
You got to know what the smart strategy is. Unlike you, Carlos, you fucking dumb leftist. Don't you know the best thing you can do in politics is just try the same thing that failed over and over again and support the Democrat? I'm tired of you dumb thinking that Nancy Pelosi don't have our best intentions in mind. It's insane to me. But anyway, thank you for $10.
No, but when you say it like that,
that's what it's saying.
But it draws attention to the stupidity that you're saying. Like, what do you mean? You dumb. What do you mean Nancy Pelosi is corrupt? You dumb. What do you mean she's taking insider trading tips? What do you mean you want to force the vote on a corrupt speaker? You dumb. Like it doesn't sound as dumb.
You think Biden hasn't done better than expected? You dumb. You think Biden don't care? Biden has empathy, guys. He's working class Joe, and you dumb leftists are bashing Bernie Sanders' friend. He's friends with Bernie Sanders, guys. If Bernie Sanders is a friend with him, he has to be good. Anyway, I'm gonna read the last one, and then we get back to the video. We just got these that came in last. See the change. Thanks for $5. Don't knock being educated. I am, however, also experienced in the life of poverty, which none of these people understand, and that's the difference. Yep, it's a class issue. I'm a college dropout. Right. Rome was a high school dropout, and our political analysis was shit over Sam Seder every day. Sam Seder and the TYT orbit is shitting in their pants at the idea at debating social. I got 80,000 followers on Twitter. They all block me. You think they don't know who I am? You think they don't know who RBN is? Yeah. You really think that? Emma Vigland was retweeting. She was retweeting.
She blocked us too. Nomiki blocked us too.
You think these people don't know? You think we just someone that they don't have us on the radar? I understand this time last year. No. But now you think they don't know who we are? They're shitting their pants. He would have set the debate with Jackson Hinkle in a second. The RBNs go, oh, hell no. Hell no.
Hell no.
Anyway, go ahead, CJ.
So let's listen a little bit because I just like your critique here and we can discuss some more.
Oh, wait. The
oh, shoot.
here.
Hold on.
My bad. I took it off.
Hold on.
Just rewind it a little bit.
My bad. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. You probably got to leave. You guys got to leave super chat.
My bad, everybody. So, just a little bit here. There we go.
Debate tactics that you see Vosh and Sam Seder use. That is not conversations. I had a debate with Garland Nixon, and me and Garland Nixon had very strong disagreements on how we achieve the liberation of Black people against the police state. He don't like the phrase defund the police. He don't like the direction the movement is going. And as someone who's an abolitionist who helped fund the 10 demands, I had a debate with him, and it was a great conversation. There was no ego because I think Garland Nixon does great work. I think he does great work. So we came as two Black men with mutual respect for each other, and we had a great conversation. You see, when the boutique left talked to us and answered to people that outflanked them to their left, immediate smug, arrogant, elite condescension. And if you think that's not rooted in classism, you are out of your mind. Now, I'm gonna get down to some of the clips here. Man, sorry guys, you probably gotta leave. You guys gotta leave super chat because there's too many. I gotta get through the clips. Maybe I can get some more time later to go through some chats, but there's so much to play here. So my critique of the boutique left that has pissed so many people off, like the whole TYT crowd, the majority report crowd, they all used to follow me. Like when I used to canvass for Bernie, when I was a citizen journalist reporting on what I saw from the Black community.
Hey guys, y'all forgot. You guys know the
majority of Black barbershops preachers. Pause. You guys know the majority report literally followed me. Let's see, do they still follow me? Literally the show. So you guys think they don't know who I am? Yeah, I work for Bernie. I was very well known, at least on Twitter, as the guy who was organizing for Bernie. You guys think they? Yeah, hold up. Yeah, look. You guys think this guy don't know who I am? And look at this. They still follow me to this day. You think they don't know who we are? But anyway, sorry, I forgot about that till now. Anyway, go ahead.
For sure. All right, so yeah, we'll play a couple minutes, and then I'm going to bring up that MSNBC Russiagate clip in a second too. So, but let's listen here.
Preach of socialism. You guys know Justice League, the guy who plays Cyborg, Ray Fisher. I was with Ray Fisher, and we was giving speeches in Black barbershops, and I used to post that stuff. And then a lot of the progressives used to like us, right? But then I saw the class divide. I saw them fucking vote for Jim Crow Joe, one of the most anti-Black politicians in the modern era. Now you guys see how that went, right? So, and then I see them go against Forced to Vote. I see them smear March for America for All. I see them go against. They attacked our General Strike Summit. Vosh and Hassan. They did a reaction video. So I'm like, bro, there's this class, this boutique privileged class, and I saw this happening in real time, and I realized they are spending more time doing reaction videos to like Jimmy Dore, attacking grassroots activists instead of holding their politicians accountable. And that's what Jackson was telling Jackson. Why are you not holding Jackson was telling Sam Seder, why are you not holding the squad accountable for their imperialist votes? Instead, if you look at the majority report, it's nothing but fucking Jimmy Dore diss videos. It's nothing.
And I mean, that's where I wanted to stop it for the first question I had. It's like, how serious are you? If you like what you were getting to in this video, you were saying it's Trump videos. They're still playing the red-blue game. There's nothing about police brutality. Yes, that's what I'm getting to. Like, so you're telling me this is the game we got to play to not be considered dumb? We got to make these, Trump videos, and we got to talk about January 6th. We got to act like this stuff is more important than what's happening to the working class. And I think that's where the disconnect, that's where the class divide, Nick, that you're talking about. They're literally not going through these things, Nick. They're literally not.
To them, January 6th is like the most pressing concern for them.
Yes.
Man, dude, this is crazy. Finally something I can care about. They're not looking at how they're gonna pay the grocery bill. They don't have giant medical bills they have to worry about. They're not worried about rent and housing. They see January 6th. Oh my God, this democracy that benefited me was almost overthrown by them nasty, disgusting workers. The nasty, disgusting rednecks almost overthrew my precious democracy. But I actually have the Sam Seder MSNBC video.
Yeah. If you got it, yeah.
I know which one I want to show because I haven't seen them all.
Got it, play, yeah.
I remember I played this video maybe 6 to 7 months ago, and I did not see it. I just wanted to see what Sam Seder went on MSNBC to say, because as I mentioned earlier, the guy who even suggests booking us will get fired. David, what the fuck? Out of here, you're done. You obviously you don't know this game apparently, right? So imagine if imagine if fucking Rome that was on MSNBC. Imagine what we were talking about. I told you guys, I'm asking the chat. Let's have some fun. If you was on MSNBC and they gave you an hour, what will you talk about? And answer that question in the chat. What would you talk about if you was given an hour? I'm racking my brain. So I'm thinking, what I would lead with is probably exposing the crimes of the CIA. I think that's probably one of the most important things that most people don't know about. Exposing Wall Street. I'll probably do a segment because I know Democrats watch it. I'll do a segment how Barack Obama tanked black wealth. I feel like a lot of people need to know that. There's so many segments, guys. I couldn't even the Cold War. I will do like segments debunking Ukraine. Like, guys, it would take me forever. But anyway, with that in mind, what you will report if you was given a time slot on the MSNBC, what we will report on, you want to see what the quote unquote smart left use their time on corporate news with a ton of shit-lived boomers watching. You had this time, you can convert people to left. You can destroy the Democratic Party and all their hypocrisies like we do on RBN all the time. You want to see what he said, what he talked about? This shit is hilarious. Hold on, let me share my screen. And I'm gonna mute my mic so the audio is good.
Right on.
And I'll let the video speak for itself. It's fucking hilarious. I remember when I first saw this, I could not believe it. We had a live reaction because I didn't see it before, but now I actually know what to expect. Look at this guy. This shit's hilarious.
Good evening from New York. I'm Sam Seder in for Chris Hayes. Now, it may not come as a total surprise to you to hear that Russia is once again trying to interfere in our presidential election to help Donald Trump. But the twist today is that the Trump administration is the one that is claiming it. This afternoon, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence released a statement updating the foreign threat to our elections. Quote, "We assess that Russia is using a range of measures to primarily denigrate former Vice President Biden, what it sees as an anti-Russia establishment. Some Kremlin-linked actors are also seeking to boost President Trump's candidacy on social media and Russian television." Donald Trump's own intelligence is publicly saying that Russia is actively trying to help him and hurt Joe Biden. Trump campaign released a statement saying, quote, "We don't need or want foreign interference. President Trump will beat Joe Biden fair and square." But given all of the president's lies over the last 5 years, not one word of that statement is believable. Remember, Donald Trump's plan A for re-election was to get Ukraine to dig up dirt on Joe Biden, and then to use that to go after him. This is literally what he said last October after the story of his abuse of power had broken and congressional investigations were underway.
Wow, I don't know if that's the one I saw, but that's insane.
He calls us the dumb. This motherfucker could talk about anything he wanted. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yeah. Right? It's like if you're left.
Other than that, he could have talked about something other than that. Yeah.
Anything. And he chose MSNBC. Now, let me show you guys how dumb the true Dumdum Left is. The true dumb. Do you guys know that Russia wanted Barack Obama to win in 2012? Do you guys know why? Because during the debate, Mitt Romney said Russia is our number one geopolitical foe. And then in 2016, Russia win, Clinton win. Guys, Russia never hides this, by the way. They're very open about this because they always vote against the most insane neocon in the race.
Right.
They wanted Barack Obama to win in 2008 because John McCain was an unhinged warmonger against Russia.
Right.
So what Russia do, despite the fact that Democrats are harder on Russia, Barack Obama was hard on Russia too, despite the fact that some Republicans maybe, like Donald Trump was as hard on Russia as Bill Clinton, right? And I've explained this many times. They choose the lesser of two evils. So as hard Donald Trump was on Russia, like, for example, trying to coup all his allied governments, he launched a coup in Venezuela. He literally gave approval for CIA financial cyber attacks on Russian infrastructure. So do you guys see how patient Russia is in hindsight? And this is, I report on this. Man, I can pull it up real quick. The CIA under Donald Trump launched cyber attacks in Russia, and that was directly authorized by Donald Trump. He literally surrounded the U.S. military around the Red Sea, surrounded Russia. He started this new Cold War. But according to Sam Seder, that guy is a Putin apologist. How does that make sense? Nothing suggests that if you look at policy, Trump opposed Putin geopolitically everywhere. In Venezuela, he literally tried to shut down the Nord Stream pipeline in Germany, a giant economic development plan for Russia. That guy is pro-Putin? That guy is pro-Putin.
See what you're doing, Nick? What I did also assess from looking at this content, you see how you're being honest and giving an assessment about something, and you're not just just telling people I'm just going to say something bad about Putin just because I don't like him. You're just saying, look, I'm not for Putin. I'm just telling you this is what happened. That's also makes you dumb left. I realize that too. It's like you can't do that. You can't do that. You're a Putin puppet. Because you're just giving an honest assessment to
knowing facts, knowing history, that would truly make you a dumb leftist. That would truly make you a dumb leftist if you believe in that. And by the way, Putin didn't want Joe Biden to win because of what? What is happening right now?
Right.
Joe Biden is literally starting World War III. So I explained to you how Donald Trump was hard on Russia. Literally every single geopolitical analyst outside of the United States would have told you that. I didn't make you guys think I wrote these analyses? I was looking at literally foreign policy experts like, God damn, Trump is actually super. That's why people like you have people in academia that would debunk it, even though Chomsky debunked Russia Gate. That's how bad it was. He wrote an article a long time ago. He's like, got the idea that Trump is working for Putin. Have you guys seen what he's doing? Everyone was debunking it, right? So what Russia's done, like I explained, just like in 2012, they picked the lesser of two evils. So even though Donald Trump was bad on Russia, they was like, bro, we know Joe Biden. This motherfucker been asking for World War III since the 90s. Since he said the only thing that would provoke Russia, which they want, is expansion of NATO. Joe Biden said that on the Senate floor. And then, so Sam Seder is confused about why Russia don't want these people in power? This is the guy who gets an MSNBC contract, the guy who can't explain his audience these very basic facts that the college dropout, who's been a political commentator for only 2 years, can explain. But
he doesn't care if the State Department gets funding. So that's a detail he wouldn't know. He doesn't care about that.
But we're the dumb love, CJ. After that MSNBC segment, man. So I hope it's clear now. I hope and I don't like CJ said earlier. I think liberals mostly watch that show now. Especially the people I see on Twitter, all shit lives that like this guy, right? So I just hope left is not falling through this. But anyway, go ahead, CJ. So you got a clip.
Yeah. This is just another. So this one is when he takes a deep dive into the. He labels it the Jimmy Dore Medicare for All debate instead of calling it forcible. He's trying to Anyway, let's just listen to what they say here, and just let me know where you wanted to stop because I know they're going to say some crazy
first of
stuff.
all, I'd just like to say I'm a huge fan of the show. Know me, I live for your jazz snaps, and you're like the lefty father.
Let me just say, I'm not 100% sold on the calls they air, or I'm not 100% sold that they're always 100% on the up and up. I'm just going to leave it there.
We all wish we had. I can imagine you whenever the revolution starts saying, hey, y'all can't go to the revolution because Target's closed, and you won't be able
Oh, that's
to
Dominican
reapply
con.
any sunscreen, and you won't be able to stay hydrated. So for that, I thank you all very much.
Well, you're welcome, I think.
So my main point of discussion is the whole Medicare for all argument. And, you know, I'm not a fan of Jimmy Dore. I'm much more of a fan of the ecosystem that you built. Huge fan of.
You see how he has to say that? He has to butter them up. Listen. Don't change your idea about me. I don't like Jimmy Dore. I'm not a fan. Okay, he has to do all this buttering up so he can ask. So they'll at least let him ask the question, because he gets to a question where he thinks the force of vote is a good idea. But in order for them to even ingest it, he has to butter their palate by saying all this stuff, right? That's the way I'm taking this call. But let's listen a little more to the
of Nomi's show. Was a huge fan of Michael's show as well. So I love that entire community that you have. That being said, I really think it is a good idea for us to bring up that Medicare for all for a vote. And I've got a few. I'd like to discuss it with you guys.
He lost his own guy.
See what y'all think about it. I've heard a lot of the discourse that y'all have mentioned, and my main points are that right now ACA has never been weaker. Trump has been trying to completely do away with it, and Joe Biden, we know that he's going to rebuild it. So if we don't attack it from now, it's going to be really, really tough to do in the future. And the third point is that right now in a pandemic, a lot of people are losing their health insurance. I lost mine whenever I lost my job.
He's describing the working class, but remember, they don't give a fuck about the working class.
They're looking bored as hell. They're like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, get to the point.
And because of that, I think we do have a really, really strong case to make the point that we deserve Medicare for all as citizens of the country and not just as employees. And if we're able to really put it there as a vote, then we could have all of the people who are for it that we know have.
Emma realized she was like, I know body language. She was like, you don't have to rewind it, but she's really like, she was trying to pretend she was scratching her nose. But this is the point. Because we talk about body language, this is where they get really uncomfortable because he buttered them up. That was a great strategy by the guy. I didn't hear it before. He buttered them up. So they like, and the Mickey was like, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And then Skrill's on like, so then as soon as he start going, they're like,
like, oh no.
Look at the body language. No. So I'm interested in seeing this. Look at this.
Like, oh no, wait a minute. I gotta think of some good reasons here. Hold on. So let's listen.
Make their point about it. And whenever it does get knocked down, which we know, this could incite that direct action that Jamie always talks about. And we could leverage that in order to really make these protests and hold our individual representatives accountable and try to force them or kick them out in the next 2 years. And
now keep in mind, before Nick, you got in here, but maybe you saw it. I remember we played a video where they were talking about Cori Bush and the Dumdum Left was criticizing for her for doing something performative and how they were on that side, remember? And I was kept bringing up how, well, this applies to force a vote and you were on the opposite side. They were making these points. Now, somehow they're on the opposite side of the same sort of performative thing that could actually get something tangible. Go ahead, Nick.
Also, I saw that point. I saw you do that segment, and I have to remind you guys that Cori Bush's stunt failed. And I say the word failed because she abandoned them. So we all like the Supreme Court struck down the eviction moratorium, and meanwhile, Cori Bush and AOC, we're gonna be all right. They were celebrating. I remember. Do you guys remember when the eviction moratorium? They was like, "This is a giant win for us." TYT like this is. They were so excited because they were like, "The squad, they finally did something." I remember how happy they was when they found. And then meanwhile, the people who they called a Dumdum Love, they was like, and just like the segment you just did, they were getting upset with us for us criticizing the Cori Bush and AOC because what? Look at our coverage at that time. We were saying, guys, you're leaving the job undone. People are still being evicted. The eviction moratorium extension is not done. Frank Analysis, who friend the show, he literally was on the ground. Max Blumenthal was on the ground, and they called him out, and then they got mad. They was like, "Man, you motherfuckers, man, y'all can't let us have nothing." That can't let us have nothing, man. But and then exactly what was said was proven right. The Supreme Court struck it down, and they had no backup plan. Not only they had no backup plan, they went to vacation.
Yep.
And did Sam Seder and Emma Vigley in the majority report, did they do a follow-up to that? Where they was like, damn, shit, they actually did abandon the people in the eviction moratorium. I guarantee you they did not.
They did not.
They did not. When you see them mislead their audience into thinking that Cori Bush did something that fixed the eviction moratorium when it did not, what do you call that? That's propaganda. Cori Bush did the same thing on Stephen Colbert. I posted on my old stream, and that was one of my streams that got pulled. It's on Rumble. Okay. I did a story where Cori Bush recently went on Stephen Colbert, and they pretended. I'm talking about this literally 2 months ago. They was like, well, you did work. Yeah, it worked. And then the crowd cheered like, yeah, this is why Cori Bush is awesome. She saved all those people from being homeless. And they left out the fact that the Supreme Court struck it down. They literally completely left that part of the story out. And Sam Seder in the majority report is complicit with pushing the propaganda that made people believe that their stunt on the steps actually accomplished anything. But so I want to add that because I wanted to comment on the segment you did earlier. That's my comment on that. We can continue with this because I'm actually very interested in hearing the response to.
Yeah, me too. Because I haven't listened to this fully. I just knew that it was a good video. I don't remember. I watched it a while ago. But one point, now since you're talking about Cori Bush, this is where Max Blumenthal became part of the Dumdum Left, because when I was doing research on this, Max Blumenthal used to go on the Majority Report all the time.
Really?
Like all the time. He had him on. Yeah, just type Max Blumenthal and type Majority Report. It's old footage, like 3 years or more. He brings them on all the time. Like at least three videos I saw where he brought Max Blumenthal on as a correspondent and talking to him like that. It's connected to Jimmy Dore, like I was saying before. It's real. All of this sort of hatred has its root at Jimmy Dore and anybody associating with him. So, what does Max Blumenthal do now? He goes on the Jimmy Dore show a lot, right? So maybe that's where it comes from. But yeah, he went on his show all the time. If you Google that,
yeah, I didn't know that.
So let's get back to the video and see what their answer is to this caller. I'm gonna rewind it maybe 30 seconds just to remember context.
Make their point about it, and whenever it does get knocked down, which we know, this could incite that direct action that Jamie always talks about, and we could leverage that in order to really make these protests and hold our individual representatives accountable and try to force them or kick them out in the next 2 years. And in that way, I see it sort of like tacking and sailing, where we use the inside-outside strategy that Lula da Silva was so famous for effectively utilizing in order to really build that coalition on the inside and outside.
I got interrupt this motherfucker. He's making way too much sense right now. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I gotta stop this dude right now. I'm gonna stop myself right now because I'm very interested in seeing his response to that. That caller, I was cringing at first because he was giving him a tongue bath, but man, I think he did a good job with how he framed it. Because
maybe he knew how to butter them up. He listens to him, so he's like, yeah, he'll let me ask the question as long as I butter him up.
Yeah, I switched on that dude. This dude did good. At first I was like, this dude's a fucking bootlicker. This is a good job I did do. He had a good strategy. But anyway, let's keep playing.
Kick them out in the next 2 years. And in that way, I see it sort of like tacking and sailing, where we use the inside-outside strategy that Lula da Silva was so famous for effectively utilizing in order to really build that coalition on the inside and outside.
Let me just see if I understand the chain of events that happened. Like, look, and again, I just want to stipulate that I think it was I think the idea of leveraging the vote has value. Leveraging the vote for Pelosi has value. Okay, but if I understand what you're saying here, is what's going to happen is this vote's going to come to the floor now. Presumably, what has to happen is 10, I think it's approximately, it depends on how many people show up, all right? The way that the voting works is this. You need to get the majority of votes for the speaker of named votes. So, for instance, the progressives who go there, they have to go because if they don't go, it's still just a majority of named votes. So 10 progressives could not show up in Congress, and it would still be, I mean, well, it would be close.
So let me just make sure everybody's following. So he's trying to make the point that these people actually have to show up, because he's getting to the point to where Nancy Pelosi is going to know who didn't vote for her. So that's what he's trying to make clear here. So just let's listen to him further this point.
Be close there. Let's say 9 could not show up in Congress. And if everybody else in the Democratic and the Republican caucus showed up, I think there'd be one more vote for Nancy Pelosi. So they need to show up. They cannot vote present, because if they vote present, they still have the same dynamic. It's as if they're not there.
Right.
They need to vote for somebody else. Let's say they vote for Noam Chomsky. All right. Then it goes back. There's no winner, because nobody gets the majority of the voting named votes. Goes back to the caucus. They say, we demand a vote on Medicare for all. Okay, you'll get that vote. Incidentally, all of you, you will never get a committee ship. You don't ever.
Who gives
you see? You see? No, you see what's important?
Wow. He said it.
You're not gonna get. You're not. Let me just say this: you're not gonna get a committee seat.
Wow.
But you got forced to vote. This inside outside game. They when they say, "Oh, why don't we do both?" They don't mean do both, because both is electing AOC and then doing the strategy, doing the pressure campaign, not being nice, but forcing the vote, and then getting your crowd, your 12 million followers, to go help you. That is the strategy, not to force the vote and then go back to being nice to Mama Bear. That's not the strategy. So let's go back to the video. You can see the rest of this here. Man, yeah, he said it out loud, Nick. He said it out loud.
That's part. If I was to guess was the worst answer he could have gave. Remember, I said I was very curious on what he said. If I was to get what to say the worst possible response, he just said it. I am not lying. Go ahead. I want to let the video clip play for
yeah, keep going. Yeah.
They say, we demand a vote on Medicare for all. Okay, you'll get that vote. Incidentally, all of you, you will never get a committee ship. You don't ever. We're going to nail you on everything. But okay, you're going to get your vote. Then the vote comes back. The full House votes on Medicare for all. The vote ends up being approximately 315 to 118. Whatever it is, 305 to 118. I don't know how many, 435, but we have some that it might be excellent. So Medicare for all, assuming every single one of the co-sponsors of the bill vote for it, it loses by 300 votes. Then, according to the plan, the Democrats who voted against Medicare for all, who had already not co-sponsored the bill, that list gets disseminated. There are, 200 districts, 110 districts, let's just say off the top of my head, 100 districts, let's call it 100 districts, where Democrats voted against Medicare for all. And 2 years from now, that vote, because people are going to organize against it, is going to vote those Democrats out, and a Democrat who supported Medicare for all in. And that's the upside of this.
Wait.
Let me just ask this question as to go into commercial. Why couldn't they use force to vote as a way of knowing who to target for the Justice Democrats? Why couldn't this be worked for your own strategy of what you believe should happen?
So one thing I'm gonna say, and one thing I'm going to show you guys this real quick, because I think this is very relevant. So I'm going to share this just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at the techniques that Sam Seder's using.
Those are CIA strategies, techniques right there.
Bring up irrelevant issues as frequently as possible. Insist on doing everything through channels. And look at number 7. Number 7 is what they're guilty of. And if you don't know, these are the CIA infiltration tactics that they use to infiltrate workplaces. They use this to infiltrate leftist movements and unionizing events. This has been widely reported because of the Freedom Information Act. You guys see how he's using number 7? Advocate caution. Oh my! What if the vote lose? Oh my God! Right. Oh my God! Premier drop off. If we force the vote making for all, it would be the end of our movement. Sam, what the fuck do we have to lose?
Exactly.
What is this caution that you advocating? And I'll stop myself there. I want the video to play, but I want you guys to keep this in mind. You guys see the techniques he's using? Like this motherfucker got this shit memorized. Let's go back to the video.
Yes, and let me just read this. Do you know what he's hey Nick and CJ, please cover Seder's old video of him saying he'd vote for damn concentration camps. He is that deranged when it comes to lesser of the wow. I'm sure he was being flippant, but still the analogy is pretty disturbing that you're saying you would go that far to just keep maintaining your allegiance to the Democratic Party. How is that not a cult? I don't get it, but let's go.
That's the upside of this. Have I got that right?
I would make a few different alterations to that. Medicare for all is important not only to Democrats, but it's also important to Republicans. By doing this, we really say this is less of a nonpartisan. We make it more of a nonpartisan issue.
Okay, but I mean, in terms of change, there's going to be Republican organizations who are going to primary Republican lawmakers who don't do Medicare for all. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting that we put it in the national consciousness, like Bernie Sanders did for us in 2016.
Bernie Sanders did
it. It's the most popular piece of legislation in the world that has absolutely zero path right now in Congress.
It's the most popular legislation in the world, and you're saying we shouldn't vote on that. You see how stupid? Just using your own words. Using your own words. It's the most popular policy in the United States, but you're advocating that we don't force the vote on that.
And think about it, guys. What happens when there's a giant floor vote that comes? Think about and this just show how intellectually short Sam Seder is, for lack of any better term. We were in the middle of a pandemic, and imagine the headlines if the squad, who already generate headlines, especially at this time, the mainstream media is looking for reasons to hate AOC, especially at this time, right? Imagine if AOC in the squad decide to vote against Nancy. That would send a massive political shockwave. Then what happens? Why everyone in the country will be asking, why didn't they vote for Nancy Pelosi? Fox News will do so. Why didn't they vote for Nancy Pelosi? MSNBC, why didn't they vote for Nancy Pelosi?
Right.
See, everybody. That would be the biggest domestic story in recent years in terms of Nancy Pelosi not being speaker and that being done because of the squad. That would have been a massive story. So then you have this massive story, and then people asking, imagine how many people would ask why they're not doing that.
They would say Medicare for all. What do you mean Medicare? Medicare for everybody? What? Who is this AOC? Let's go follow her. Then you can, it's so many different things that could have snowballed into. And you're just trying to act like he's trying to frame it as all that's going to happen. We're going to figure out who already is not for it. We already know. And then that's it. Nothing. Like it's not going to galvanize people. Like it's not going to do any of that. He's trying to act like it's not going to do any of that. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, we can go back to the video, but you guys see the point I'm making, right? Think about, and I remember I asked this question last time we played a Sam Seder clip when he was talking about his theory of voting, how voting is not like a personal moral choice of yours. You just vote for less two evils. Whenever you hear Sam Seder or anyone in the boutique left give their opinion on things, ask yourself this: how does this ideology benefit the working class? How does preventing a giant national discourse over the healthcare in the middle of a pandemic, how does that help the working class? Whenever I hear this guy, which is not often, usually when I'm with CJ, this motherfucker gives advice that does not help the working class at all. When you hear him speak and when you hear his theory of voting, how did this help the working class? That is the question you should be asking yourself. But let the video play.
Absolutely. Love this comment. Do what now? Kamala Harris, do what?
On Congress. It's not because Republican voters don't want to vote for it.
I don't want to refute it. I just want to look at the best case scenario. I'm just trying to tease out how this actually physically works and the benefit that comes from it.
And as Sam says, in this best case scenario, there will be more retaliation against those members that organize it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going through this. I'm just going through
trade-off.
Right. That is the.
So literally, this must be the reason, Nick. It must be retaliation. Must be the reason. And AOC have said they treated me bad. Chris Hedges, I've done a couple of his, went through a couple of his interviews, and he's saying Bernie Sanders says I don't want to end up like Ralph Nader. I keep hearing the same thing. I heard in the background, I can't, give the news source, but hearing about Cori Bush feeling threatened in the background. Like, this is it. They're basically saying, look, these motherfuckers gonna do this to me, so this is my boundary. So this is the best we can get out of this. And that is Chris Hedges' assessment of Bernie Sanders. It's like Bernie have come to terms with, look, this is the situation, and I'm just gonna get the best I can get out of this, and that's it, without me being dragged through the mud like a Ralph Nader. Too sad. Let's go back to the video.
It is the trade-off.
I would say we can't be afraid of that retaliation.
I know.
Obama could.
This guy is saying all the right things. Nick.
CJ, I mentioned this when you stepped away. You notice how they keep interrupting him? Yeah. They can't. After they fucked up because they allowed him to go too long because they thought he was gonna butter them up. That's why they gave him a long introduction.
Yeah.
So then Sam Seder cut him off at that point because that's when they realized they fucked up. Now at this point, they are not gonna allow their audience to be exposed to someone who actually knows these issues. And I don't know if you saw it earlier, but he made an up point, had said one sentence, they interrupted him. And now you saw the Mickey, right when he started making a point, like, we can't be afraid of Petra. The Mickey interrupted really less than one sentence. She's like, no, we can't let these motherfuckers hear this shit. It's clear to me that's what they're doing. But go ahead, you can play the video.
But that's the point of RBN is that, what do you mean committee assignments? What do you mean? Like, who cares about this stuff? And this caller is articulating
those committee assignments. And now we know in hindsight, guys, did those committee assignments do anything for you and your family? Did those committee assignments do anything for the left? Now that we know in hindsight now, which should be obvious to anybody, by the way. But go ahead, CJ.
This best case scenario, there will be more retaliation against those members that organize it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going through this. That is the trade-off. Right. That is the trade-off.
I would say we can't be afraid of that retaliation.
I know. Obama couldn't get anything done because they ran against Obamacare, his one piece of legislation.
He couldn't get anything done. Obama got Obamacare done.
I want to just keep this focused here. Okay.
I think that is focused.
Keep out the retaliation. For a moment. That is that the best scenario?
So I've had several debates with my friends. I was actually on your side of saying we should.
No, I don't. You don't need to give me the filler. I'm just trying to look at this thing.
I think that's
in its shiniest
that's
look.
the best option.
Okay.
I think that's the best bet.
So in that scenario, and so now in terms of cost, I know you're not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it either.
Yes, you are.
The cost is that you inhibit the ability of our greatest allies in the House to negotiate for anything, to build a coalition with anybody. At best, maybe they voted for Hakeem Jeffries or Noam Chomsky or whomever for speaker.
Holy
Eventually
shit.
they get in. This vote happens. It gets slaughtered, right? 3-1 in the Congress. And you have diminished the power of the progressives,
who's extremely powerful right now
on this issue.
Nick, but this is quite the reason that Chris Hedges and Kashama Sawant, when I have that strategy, when when I examine their strategy, this is exactly the reason the playbook that the Democrats are giving out, that this is how you're able to influence us to do something, progressives. That's not the playbook we want to go with. This playbook of playing nice and getting committee assignments, that's for career politicians. Think of how long that takes. Think of how long that takes. I got to be a committee, then I got rolled up to be a chair or an under chair or vice chair of the committee. Then I could give my input, and then that input is watered down. Like, look at the process you're telling us that we should do.
This guy is a fucking dum-dum. This is way worse than I thought it was going to be. This guy is a fucking dumb. Like, so this guy calls us the dumb. Let me explain something to you guys. You guys realize that the margins in the House is so thin that AOC and the squad could dictate all policy if they want to? So what he said, when you do this force to vote, you lose all leverage. You lose all ability to form coalitions and get progressive agendas passed. Like they are doing now? So we got the benefit of hindsight now, because we were making this argument at the time this video was made. I didn't know this video was made, but at the time we was rebuking their talking points, but we didn't have hindsight. Now we have hindsight. Everything this motherfucker said aged like milk. This is the worst age take I've ever seen in my life. This motherfucker said we should not force the vote, because if we do, AOC and the squad will lose leverage. So they did not force the vote. What leverage do they have? Sam Seder, we followed your strategy. Well, not we. The progressives followed your strategy, and they did not force the vote. So thus, how much power do the progressives have right now? So they listen to you. Remember the argument that we make, CJ? We don't have a ton of influence. This is a great stream, 475 people watching. That's great for us. Not a ton. We don't have a ton of influence. The people who have been dictating the left for the last 6 years has been this motherfucker. And you guys wonder why the working class is so weak?
Right.
AOC, Namika Combs, they all listen to his show. They go on his show. He's part of the club. He goes on MSNBC. He has been the voice of the progressives for a very long time. The progressives listened to his strategy. They didn't listen to ours. They listened to his. They didn't listen to Jimmy's. They didn't listen to Frank Analysis. They didn't listen to anyone. They listened to Chris Hedges. They, for damn sure, ain't listened to Michael Parenti. Not nobody. They listen to this motherfucker, his political ideology. Where are we at? Based on his take that he gave right now. But we are the dumb left.
It's just not serious, Nick. It's just not.
I'm gonna react this way. I'm sorry, guys, because I legitimately never seen this clip before. And like I said earlier, if I was to guess his answers, like I have been hard on Sam Seder. We have been hard on Sam Seder on this channel. But if I was to guess his answers beforehand, even I did not know it was this bad. I'm shocked at how much of a celeb he is right now. And I have been hard on this motherfucker. This is unbelievable that anyone who considered himself anywhere left of center would watch this goddamn show. And especially after this clip, I am saying that with my chest. Go ahead, CJ.
And ostensibly, it's going to get us what?
Well, 2 points about that. Every representative, everyone who went up for election that supported Medicare for all won their seat. You guys have mentioned that on the show several times. Also, on Nomi's last show, she mentioned that AOC lost.
This guy came prepared for this.
I'm going to let it play.
He came prepared. This guy came prepared to answer their questions.
Yeah, I'm going to let it play, but the only thing I'm going to say is that you see how he just they went on this long diatribe. All of them chimed in. This motherfucker just destroyed their logic with literally one sentence. You want me to rewind it just about like 8 seconds? Look at this.
Yes, sir.
The one sentence he said just demolished everything they just said. And they played again.
Mentioned that on the show several times. Also, on
I didn't go back far enough. Hold on a second. Here, right here.
On this issue, and ostensibly, it's going to get us what?
Well, 2 points about that. Every representative, everyone who went up for election that supported Medicare for all won their seat. You guys have mentioned that on the show several times. Also, on Nomi's last show, she mentioned that AOC lost her committee chair on the energy committee.
No,
she didn't
lose it. She never had
didn't
it.
get it. Yeah.
And then they had to interrupt him again. This motherfucker only had 2 sentences to speak. After them, he dismantled.
He said she didn't get it. remember the seat. Remember the corporate Democrat who forced the vote. Got it. It was I forget her name. Female corporate Democrat. She told, I'm not voting for you. She's the one who forced the vote, and that's how she got the seat.
Dude.
And so that's what Nomiki just said.
Last thing I said, I let it play for a bit, but I cannot believe they posted this. I'm almost interested in reading the comments. Do Majority Report fans think anything happened other than them being absolutely demolished? This guy was ready. Remember, I got 2 points on this. He already knew what they was going to say because he's a fan. He's a fan. He watched the show. He already knew what they was going to say. So he's like, as soon as they got done melting down at his comment, not allowing him to speak, he was like, I got 2 points for that, bro.
Look at Emma. She's looking like, this is the wrong guy you guys put on the damn thing. Why'd you guys put this guy? Look, she looked like she's looking at the producer across the way.
I cannot believe they posted this. Like, do they think they won this exchange? They got dismantled. But go ahead. Let's let play for a little bit.
Ostensibly, it's going to get us what?
Well, 2 points about that. Every representative, everyone who went up for election that supported Medicare for All won their seat. You guys have mentioned that on the show several times. Also, on Nomi's last show, she mentioned that AOC lost her committee chair on the energy committee.
Well, she didn't
lose it. She never
She
had
didn't
it.
get it. Yeah. Well, she did lose the vote. She did. There was a vote.
She wasn't on the committee, but part of that
So she
was
lost the vote. But see, she lost the vote because the other candidate or the other person who was able to get that position leveraged her vote where she said publicly, I'm not in support of Nancy Pelosi.
You're sequencing this wrong.
He's saying you're sequencing this wrong. So those events happen, but he's saying not in that order.
She said that. She said that. She said that 2 or 3 years. She voted against Nancy Pelosi 2 years ago. But what happened in this instance is you had a lot of people who were mad at AOC for primarying Republicans. This was primarying Democrats.
Okay.
This was them disciplining.
That changes
AOC.
nothing. That literally changes nothing that he said. But keep it playing. I'll let it keep playing. Go
The
ahead.
issue
I'll stop.
of Rice.
Go ahead.
Said it.
Yes, the issue of Rice not voting for Nancy Pelosi is not why this happened. This happened because AOC was being disciplined. And you know who had her back? Nobody.
I was thinking about why this commercial play. Doesn't that sound like a good reason to force the vote since they all hate you anyway?
It doesn't make any sense.
Nothing they say makes sense. This is
and why couldn't it be as part of the force the vote demand in Medicare for vote and 2 committee seats? Why can't that be the demand?
Yes.
Jeez, it's completely unserious. It's completely unserious.
And the point is that she will be disciplined further, and she saw those primary endorsements as an intelligent, measured way to leverage her power, not one progressive lawmaker.
You see how she has to add that adjective in there, intelligent way.
Right now thinks this is an intelligent way to leverage their power when they
see. She had to label it intelligent because she's going back to the dum-dum. She's going back to the proletariat word of or a concept of this is the stupid way to do it.
Yeah, she's relying on her audience's programming at this point. They know they lost. They know they're getting dismantled. At this point, they just want their audience to know, hey, intelligent, he's dum-dum. They try to make sure their audience is trained.
I mean, look at all of them trying to not pay attention. Sam is not really paying attention. No, Mickey talks and she's not really like, come on.
And they see other openings because there's a reason that Mitch McConnell wanted to bring Medicare for All for a vote in the Senate. And he talked about that publicly. And the reason was was because he knew that a vote would sap the legislation, the idea behind Medicare for All of its power. And now
how would that sap it? Because it went down? Wouldn't people, she keeps not understanding what the people want. It's 80% approval or something like that. 70%, maybe 70% approval. So why wouldn't you do something as a person who's trying to get reelected by people who vote? 80% of your 80% of your constituents want this. It just doesn't make sense. This imaginary, give me a committee seat to do what? So you can sit there and not have more power?
I said it
They're
once.
They're still not going to give it to you. Go ahead.
I said it once and I say it again. do not trust anyone who tells you, as a worker and as an activist, to shut up and trust the plan. They are essentially telling all the activists who was ready to get the streets, they wanted to do their job as the outside game. Sam's message, AOC's message, and their faction, their message of people was shut the fuck up and trust the plan, you peasant. We know what we're doing. That's why Emma dropped the intelligent. They got intelligent plans. You think you know better? Shut the fuck up and trust the plan. Don't trust anyone who says that. You can keep the video playing.
Absolutely. We'll play a little bit more, and then we'll wrap up a little bit. I do want to show the graphics too of some of the other dumb left people that have been labeled that.
Progressives, ostensibly, I mean, I know you are coming in good faith, but yes, I should take that back. A lot of good progressives are arguing for this, and I disagree because I don't think it is strategic. And, you know, Eric Levitz wrote in his piece today, and I think it's just a really great point that the morality of an idea
she's struggling
has to be equated with, or has to be seen in balance with its practicality or its likeliness to succeed.
This sounds like a bunch of CIA shit right here. This sounds
like Kamala Harris right now, motherfucker. She sounds exactly like.
Yeah. And what I mean by CIA shit, I mean like what you were saying, the tactic of muck up the work, say a bunch of shit. Isn't that what she's doing? Say a bunch of shit that's not related, bring up talking points that none of this has nothing to do with anything here. Yeah. That's exactly what she's doing.
In a current moment. And a lot of that can be from outside pressure, and you can change things. But right now, it's not within the realm of possibility because progressives lost on the presidential level and did not make as many gains as they could have. There is no leverage. And so all it does is open the door for further retaliation again. Right. It's just slamming your head against the wall or slamming the remote, as Sam has been using. All it does.
Exhausting yourself.
You exhausted yourself.
I just wanted to say, like, that's the thing is, like, if there was a union involved in this, like, I'm hearing way too much about protests and not enough about strikes. You're not going to change this level.
You mean the strikes AOC didn't
I
go
don't
to?
think. Maybe.
You mean the strikes that the Amazon workers called her out for not attending? That one?
Exactly.
God damn.
And they barely gave her a critique of that. Like Emma, because I'll watch that video too when preparing for this. Emma was like, "Yeah, you know, I would have had her do something else." And that's when she says, "I critique her all the time." That's what she means. It is like I don't know what they mean. We need to do a stream though called "What is holding a politician accountable?" Because I still don't understand what that means from people that are in this orbit, and they use that term when they're talking about it.
Maybe I'm wrong, but if that's the theory, I think we should be explicit about that, and I think it bears scrutiny.
Can I mention something real quick? You know, Jane McAlevey comes on your show a lot and my show, and I happened to pull up her book. If you guys haven't seen it, I have it right here. I'm going to read one little part at the back because she's been talking about this for years. And there's one line, it's just on the cover of the book. On the cover, it says that a strategy today's progressives have mostly abandoned, meaning the power. Okay, so she says, she makes a compelling argument that great social movements of pressure and previous eras gained their power from mass organizing, a strategy today's progressives have mostly abandoned in favor of shallow mobilization or advocacy. So in this book, if you guys want to know how you...
Did she not know? She just said something to prove against her point.
Yeah, like
did she not know she just proved something against her point? What did she think she just...
I don't understand the point she's making. I was literally thinking like I don't understand the dot she's trying to connect here. But anyway,
and she always does that and messes shit up. But we can end this
we have some super chats
here because Nick, you can clearly see at the end of that video they don't have interest. They're like this we're just waiting for this segment to be over because we don't have any interest in the rest of this call here. And they're just saying mumbo jumbo. You notice they're not directly talking to him. You notice that? They're just bringing, here's this book, and I got a quote. That's like Nancy Pelosi saying the poem. That's like Nancy Pelosi saying the poem. What the fuck? What are you talking about? That's exactly what happened. But go ahead. You say you had something else you wanted to bring up, or another?
We do have a few super chats, and I gotta get ready for my other show tonight.
Yeah, we gotta get it wrapped up here.
Yeah, but I think
I gotta take my daughter to basketball practice or something.
Yeah, let's try to get through these super chats real quick. Thank you, Nima. for the 5 whatever currency that is. Sam said he would still vote for Dems if they offered one less concentration camp than Republicans, because that's a guy who has zero skin in this goddamn game. Zero skin. Thank you for the
So
10
that's
bucks.
the point I would say is like how would, and that's what revolutionary people say, Nick, is how are the people in the concentration camps are going to get justice? That's who we're saying we want. It's like we need stuff for them, and they're saying we'll vote for a Democrat. We'll vote for Democrats if they had one less concentration camp. That's the difference. That so captures the difference between reformists and revolutionists. They're okay with that type of thing as who they're teaming up with.
They okay with abandoning people. They're like, we don't give a fuck. Yeah. So we have Democrats and Republicans that are killing your communities. As long as the Democrats does it with a smile on their face, we'll happily give them power because it doesn't affect me. I am Sam Seder. I don't give a fuck about you. Are we clear? Thank you for the other great comment, Nima. What's interesting is that in this video, Sam showed that he knows how the speakership vote works.
Yeah.
But when he debated Breon Joy Gray, where he got dismantled too.
Maybe that's where he learned it. I don't know the order. This video, by the way, was December 2020. So I don't know when the force support thing was before that. So yeah, this video is after. So maybe he learned from BJG.
Yeah, because he was embarrassed by. I remember. Anyway, not important. Anyway, let's go to the next super chat. Cool Blue 71-499. Sam, Emma, all of their ilk work to keep people voting for the Democrat Party, which you would call an operative. If you work on a project with a goal in mind, that is called an operative. If it don't matter what you say, it don't matter how many times you criticize them, that is irrelevant. If your goal is to get more people to vote for the Democrat Party, you are a Democratic Party operative. Are we clear? And if you see that as something negative, what does that say?
Exactly.
Because if you say I was an operative for the working class, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. If you ask me if I was a Bernie operative back when I worked on the Bernie campaign, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. But whenever I call these people Democratic Party operatives, then people are like, oh my God, why are you being so divisive? I'm like, divisive? This motherfucker literally say vote for the Democratic Party. That's literally what it means to be a Democrat. Language has a reason, guys. Anyway, thank you for $20, Catherine. Nicole, this is solidarity. Super chat. We always appreciate those. I saw this one earlier. I couldn't wait to get this one. The black perspective on Majority Report is Ben Nixon. Because I saw a bunch of people in the chat at the time. They were saying that Majority Report would never ever have black people on. And once again, I don't watch the show, so I can't comment on the accuracy of that. But if they had Ben Nixon on, you know what kind of nigga they looking for. You know what kind of brother they looking for. That brother like, yeah, I believe in voting for the Democrats too. That's the motherfucker they want to hear, bro.
We gonna be all right. We gonna be all right.
I remember Big Dixon. He blocked this a long time ago. I destroyed Ben Dixon in so many fucking. He don't even bother no more. He'd be like,
yeah, he's like, nah, fuck this shit.
He had like, hopefully I'm not getting it wrong because I've been blocked for a long time, but he had like 150,000 followers.
Yeah,
and I still had like 20 to 30,000, and I would ratio this motherfucker all the time. So he had to block me for that shit didn't happen no more because real black Marxists and leftists, they exposed Ben Dixon as a Democratic Party operative that they are, the shameless bootlickers that they are. So once again, I don't watch the show, but if they have Ben Dixon on as their regular black, that says everything.
The black.
That's how I promise you. That's how they think about it. Thank you for the $10, Saul. Drop something for Nick. I think you mean super chats. I appreciate the support. That's how I interpret it. I'm trying to make sure I miss any. Yeah, I think we got a few more. There you go. We appreciate the super chats. Good show in the stream. Thank you, Charles K, for the $10. Tom Hartman is the biggest left commentator, and no one mentions him when criticizing the left commentators. Most of his criticism of the Republicans can be equally applied to the Dems.
No, he's right. Or this person, I don't know who, or Charles, yeah, is it he? This person is right. And let me speak about this because Tom Hartman, like I said this in the stream before, a lot of people began politics with Jank. Mine was through Tom Hartman because I would listen to the radio and it was talk radio. And the only progressive show on was this channel. Everything else was Republican. That's how I started listening to it. But this person is right. about the critique about Tom Hartman. I think the reason I don't particularly, because Tom Hartman has a particular audience, and I think that audience is a much older audience that is like, you know, still has a core to the cable networks, like you know what I mean? Like I'm not sure our politics would pull in that group, but that is something we could do. That is something we could do. We can look into that. But he does put out a lot of content that's literally kind of shit libby and kind of like liberal minded. So yeah. All right, thanks for that super chat. Any other ones, Nick?
Yeah, sorry, I had to. That was me doing something to prepare for the show tonight. Where do we leave off? I think this is the next
Tom
one.
Harmon.
Once again, thank you guys for the super chats. We got a lot of them today. We appreciate it. Then you see the change. I did read this one. I think. Don't not being educated. I think I read this one before.
Yeah,
Thank you for the super chat.
We're not being educated. You know, family. I got brothers and
our friend Carlos.
Go to school. Yeah,
my friend
Carlos right here. Yeah, go ahead.
He's in academia. He joined us tonight. Like we have a lot of great academics on. It just are you class loyal or are you not? I know for a fact from my conversation with Carlos, this motherfucker is the biggest class trader I've ever seen. This motherfucker hate these academics.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for 10 bucks, Carlos. The progressive strategy now is to look backwards and recycle.
I read that one. Yeah,
I think
that's it. Yeah, because I think I remember reading that, or one of us read that one. So
yes, I think we got.
So tell us about your interview before we get off. So what's coming up next and what time, so people will know. Come back and view that.
We're gonna have a great panel discussion. Friend of the show, Tara Reid, will be on. The Trailblazer, who I co-founded, Tim Demands with Zoya, will be joining us, and also the guy you saw left the last super chat that I pulled up, my friend Carlos Gallego.
Man, that's gonna be a good stream right there.
Yep. Not powerful panel, so make sure you gotta check that out.
You have a particular topic or just current events you're doing?
We're gonna do some current events. I got a few good stories for you guys. I'm blanking, but we're gonna get started around 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys don't know, like people mostly know Tara Reid as the person who accused Joe Biden of sexually assaulting her. But she got a channel. She got really good foreign policy analysis. Like I don't know if you guys know.
She's good on it. She's good on
it. She's a good political analyst. So I'm not even bringing her on to talk about the Biden because I think she does a good job. So we're gonna have her on, and Zoya, Carlos. It's gonna be a good conversation. So that's all I have coming. That's what I have coming up. And I think I'm gonna take tomorrow off. Just because I got a lot of shit prepared for. But we see. But that's all I have. Make sure you guys tune in tonight. I'm gonna get ready for that.
And they'll be interviewing the Bank Sisters later tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm assuming that's Eastern. So shout out to Independent News. So thank you for that. All right, Nick, you can take off if you want. I'll give my last words. So thank you for joining today. See you later, Nick. Thank you for joining today. It was a fun stream. I'm gonna end with a one of our closing videos. Oh, actually, let me show you the graphics really quickly. Some of the other graphics, some people that are also considered part of the Dumdum Left. It really stems from, am I sharing? Yeah, there we go. Really stems from this guy here. Their hatred for this particular person really shows. And then, oops, let's see. Made a couple of these. Of course, then there's us. RBN. Based on what the criteria is to be a Dumdum Left. And then Max Blumenthal is another one. I think more recently, maybe they've added him to the list. Because like I said, I've pulled up footage or content where Max used to go on the Majority Report and be interviewed all the time. Of course, Jackson with the famous debate that he had against Sam. And they've actually called him out in streams before by name, Jackson. And I think Aaron and Nominki have a back and forth going on. But then there's Aaron also, because in both of them, Aaron and Max are tied to Jimmy Dore. Like I said, a lot of this is a Jimmy Dore thing. Based on their analysis of not supporting the Democratic Party, people like Frank Analysis and Fiorella all are both who are friends of the show. So yeah, that was my that was some of the other graphics just to show some of the other dumb leftists. But I'm gonna leave with this one since we're talking about class. We're gonna leave you with this video from Nick, where he's talking about the class divide on the left, and the caption is, "There's a class divide on the left. There is no class solidarity in this movement. No, we are not allies." So let's listen to Nick take us out. Back when we used to be called Fred Hampton Leftist, that's our old logo there. So like this stream on your way out. Thank you for joining. Thank you everybody on Twitter, on Twitch, on Rockfin. Thank you for all your support. Actually, one more thing before I go here. Where is it at? Make sure you join us on Substack so you get notifications for streams like this when we just have these impromptu streams, not regularly scheduled. So make sure you join our Substack to get notifications. We just send, or I send out notifications before I do streams. So, all right. So make sure you do that. And on the way out, like this stream. Thank you for joining. And Nick is going to take us out today. The stream will end after this video. So have a great rest of your Wednesday.
There's a class divide on the left right now where you have privileged motherfuckers with health care who get mad at poor and disenfranchised people for not liking the politicians that they like. So why is this accepted on the left? People wondering why I'm going off on the Western left. This is why. This is why. There is no solidarity in this movement. So these privileged people, they see people get left behind. So if you don't support Medicare for all, how many people are going to die because of that? If you are not canceling student loan debt, how many people are living in poverty because of your decision? But meanwhile, privileged people, and I've seen their houses, it's not fair that I've seen it, but I've seen it. The people we talking about, they make a lot of money. The people make a lot of money, and then they get mad at protesters for challenging their favorite politicians. And yes, I am mad because I see people going along with it. I thought the left, I thought we were supposed to have class analysis. But apparently we don't. So when I get mad at the squad for funding the police more, how are you going to get mad at me for criticizing your favorite politicians when they are funding the forces of oppression that are killing us? You know why? Because you're a white privileged motherfucker who's staying at home knowing that you're not going to be a victim of police violence. So since you know you're not going to be a victim of police violence, you get mad at people who are calling out your favorite politicians for being complicit with it. No, we are not allies. No, we are not friends unless you stand in our community. And I'm calling all these people out because I am tired of people putting the preference and the opinions and the emotional health of the politicians over the activists.
Amen.
So,
amen, Nick. Amen.
Where I come from, so I'm going to get to the question, but where I come from, we should have even given them a fucking excuse like, oh, Rome, technically Rome wasn't the one who did. I don't care. My response to that was, are you telling me that working class people should not challenge your favorite politicians? You made the argument why we shouldn't be mad at Bernie. You made the argument why we should be mad at AOC. Instead of be like, oh my God, these activists, they're so toxic because they mad at your favorite politician. Fuck you. People ask me this all the time, and I have a lot of great conversations with white allies. And it's not really that hard. Like, I think you guys kind of overthink it. All you gotta do is just listen. Like, we just kind of shut out these conversations. That's why Fred Hampton Leftist has been the shock to left discourse, because people are seeing the perspective of a group of black leftists in a way they haven't seen before. Because, as we mentioned before, and we love Brianna Joy Gray, we love Dr. Cornel West here, but there was only a certain managerial like black left that they will allow and they will talk to. They won't actually get the raw conversation for someone like you on CJ. That's why I always thought it was very interesting. That's why I was watching it while it was going on. I was watching it live because I was very interested to see how Jen was going to bridge that gap. Because I remember when I was on her show, she was talking about electoral politics. We had our conversation about that. And I'm like, I don't know why she was CJ Hunt talking about this.
Yeah.
We are seeing people adjust to this new rise of the black left that is the result of in general, this large leftist movement that is developing. Black Americans are leading the leftist movement. There was a poll that showed how all the anti-capitalist sentiment, Black Americans are leading that. And this is something that wasn't displayed for a very long time. I talk about this all the time. The most popular content creators was white. And this is not an indictment of any of them, but think about it. The most popular people, Sam Seder, Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kalinske, Humanist Report, Rational National, David Pacman, Tim Pool, on and on and on. All these people are just white. So people only got one perspective. So ever since we had this thing, we started having these hard conversations that had to happen. It's been a shock to the left. And that's why we appreciate having you guys join us, because I know the conversations